Welcome to the Find My Catalyst podcast. We all have problems we're looking to solve. We know that there are solutions out there, but we struggle with this. How do we find the solution? Where does that nudge come from to help us take the next step and start solving tough problems? This podcast is designed to help you find your catalyst and take that next step. This is Mike Simmons. I am the founder of Catalyst Acts, and today my catalyst is the 2023 NSA Influence conference that I just returned from. This episode, like all the episodes of the Find My Catalyst podcast, is brought to you by the Catalyst Acts game plan. It's our approach to goal setting and execution, and I am really excited to announce that we've recently launched the game plan notebook. And you can check out the game plan notebook. If you go to findmycatalyst.com, you'll see links there. And we've got a promotional pricing out there currently through the end of July. The game plan notebook will be $18. Effective August 1st, we're going to push that up to $45, and that'll be the standard pricing as things go forward. So let's talk a little bit about the conference that I just returned from. Continuous learning is something that's important to me. Taking a beginner's mind approach to each opportunity that's in front of us is also important to me. Well, there are a number of different ways that you can go through the process of learning. And for me, events are an extremely important part of that. And the reason why events are an extremely important part of that is it creates an opportunity to meet people who are also super excited about solving for specific problems or building out a specific set of capabilities. So in the context of meeting people who are focused on solving problems, I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I'm adding in a clip from a video that Todd Caponi and I created in the hallway while at Influence 2023. It's about 7 minutes or so. It's a good conversation between a couple of friends who have met for the first time. We've spoken to each other a number of times, but this was the first time we had a chance to actually meet in person and share a little bit about our experience. After this clip, we'll get back into the regular part of the podcast and again, share lessons learned, things that I'm going to do differently, including 3 questions that I'm focused on right now. And I've done a lot of reflection on both on the flight back from Orlando and over the course of this week. Of all people, I'm standing around aimlessly looking at a phone, not trying to be super awkward, and this dude comes and taps me on the shoulder. Todd, thanks for finding me yesterday.
It's funny. You remember those movies where there's the beach scene where 2 people hadn't seen each other in a long time and they go running through the water? That's how I felt when I saw you.
What song was playing in the back of your head?
It was Chariots of Fire. I don't know why, but because it's running through
That's a perfect beach song. I was thinking more of like the Rocky montage kind of stuff, where exactly. Apollo and Rocky hugging each other at the end. So anyway, let us know what song plays in the background when you find someone. So this is the first time I got to meet you in person, which was really cool. Mm-hmm. You've been on the podcast before, so Todd, why did you come to NSA Influence?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this. I think I'm pretty good at this. I don't know, but there's 2 things. Number one is I've kind of been almost accidentally successful to this point, and I want to get to this point where I've become much more intentional about making this last forever. Being a CRO is cool, but the investment in Advil was off the chains. I've more than replaced my income doing what I do today, and I feel better, I'm healthy. I need to make this last forever. Like, I never want to go back. Yeah. So that's reason number 1. Yep. And then reason number 2 is there's you here, there's me here, there's some amazing people here that I've never had an opportunity to meet. But what I'm realizing as I'm listening to people speak and I'm attending sessions is you think you're pretty good at it. Yeah. There's so much to learn. Like, it is, some of these speakers are on such another level. Like, you think you're pretty good, you do an engagement and people are like, oh, Mike, you're so good, you're dreamy, I cried, I laughed.
I haven't heard that before.
Really?
Is that what usually happens?
Oh, maybe that's next for you. Okay, yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there, brother.
One day.
But it's like, then I hear these people and I'm like, people thought I was good? These people are ridiculous. There was a guy we listened to yesterday, De La Torre. Man, I wanted to go run through a freaking wall after listening. Like that talk all by itself was worth it to me. But it just realized there's such an opportunity for us to continually get better. And as the old saying goes, if you're not busy getting better, you're probably getting worse. And so this is just an investment in making a better outcome for the individuals that we're engaging with.
Why do you think people don't invest in themselves?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's probably, one of the speakers was talking about the biggest thing that stands in front of people, success is their ego. And I wonder if that tends to be the case. And you can't help it yourself, right? Like, you go on a roll where I've got incredible engagements and the feedback is like, it's the greatest thing ever. And like my wife always talks about that. It's just like, hey, you've got to stay humble in everything you do and in your business. And, you know, she does a great job of keeping you humble. But I love her very much. But life, the point being,
lives and wives. Yeah,
right, exactly. It's just like you've got to have this constant look in the mirror and go, I could always be better. And if you think that you're the best, I think that's where you start getting stuck. And that happened like even as a revenue leader, right? I had sales team members on my team. I remember one guy specifically who was, you know, number one in the company. And it was we had 300 reps. And then the next year he was kind of like, I don't need any more help. I got this. And he didn't go to club that year and he didn't get to his target.
Right.
It's those type of experiences where you just got to see that, hey, when I'm at the top, there's an opportunity to extend your lead. Right? And being here, I know I'm not at the top, right? And so I've got to get there first, but you can never stop.
Yeah. Well, and you see it. There's the cool thing about an event like this, and this is the first time I've been to a speaker's event. Like just joined NSA. You've been part of NSA for 5 years now.
Yeah.
So coming in, there's a completely different network of people.
Right.
And you see this level of passion and excitement across a group of people who are really committed to getting better at their craft. And you start to kind of see the ones who look like they figured it out, but then even John Gordon today was talking about some of the insecurity he has relative to not figuring it out. And you see these different styles. So as you've gone through just even the first day, and now we're a day and a half into it, what's a key takeaway that you're going to apply into your business starting now? Well,
number one, to that last point you just made. So there's been a couple of speakers that I've known for a long time. There's a guy, J.A.M.E, for example, who I've just always looked up to in this profession. I heard him speak when I was at Exact Target like 10 years ago, and I was like, that guy is incredible. I've gotten to know him over the years, and to just be sitting next to him in one of these engagements, and he's taking notes like a madman. I'm like, I mean, that's why we're here. For me, at this point, I think I'm still getting to like, what's the one thing I'm going to do? I'm not quite sure just yet. But what I do know is that there's an opportunity for me to create revenue streams that do not require, my only inventory right now that I can convert to revenue is my time. Right? And once that time is gone, the revenue stops. And I don't think that's sustainable. And so really what I'm trying to figure out is like, how do I create more revenue streams that kind of live and breathe when I don't have to be the one doing it. And I think that's what makes this sustainable. The other piece of that is I was just talking to a guy over lunch about this idea that we've had 4 different economies in 4 years, right? And as a result, the business that I'm doing has had to shift 4 times just to survive. And so I guess the bottom line of that is as the economy starts to get better is when I have to invest in making sure that the next economy shift doesn't punch me in the face like the last 3.
Right. Yeah. Well, and what's funny about this? So last night, Todd and I had a chance to have a couple of drinks with each other, and in one of the stories
that's why
that
I
he
have flies
shared,
buzzing around my head.
One of the stories he shared though was really cool. Was about a problem that needs to be addressed inside a specific organization. And not to get into the details there, but what was super interesting about it was, hey, our messaging is based on things that had happened just a couple of years ago, which feels like yesterday, especially when you think about pandemic time. But things have changed. Market has changed. And just a couple of years ago, people were talking about how everybody was exiting organizations and going and building all of these things. And now it's the great boomerang and the return. And there's so many different things that keep coming. The cool thing about changing times and economies is it's like the weather out here. Now it's pouring. And the other day it was hot and just steamy. Things will continue to change. So that is really cool. Awesome. Todd, it was great to see you.
Dude. Yeah.
Thanks for doing this.
Exactly.
From NSA's Influence 2023 conference. And this is part of that journey that I'm going through as I build out the professional speaking side of the business. And the reason why that's important to me is I think it will provide an opportunity to get in front of a larger group of people than we've been able to get in front of historically. Now, as far as the speaking thing goes, I've been speaking in one way, shape, or form since 2003. I think that was the first event that I spoke at where it was outside of an organization. And when I spoke at that event, it was an event that we actually sponsored. So there are different ways to get in front of an audience. You can pay for time, you can sponsor sessions. And if you've gone to events, you've seen those sessions, and typically they're not very well attended. One of the primary reasons the sponsored sessions aren't very well attended is many of the companies that sponsor those sessions focus more on delivering information about their product rather than sharing information from their customers around the specific problems that they solve for and how they've navigated those problems. So there, you can pay to get in front of a group, you can apply to get in front of a group, and that's where a lot of the speaking that I do today comes from. It's where I apply to speak at conferences. And I've got a couple of different events that I'm speaking at later this year. I'll be at an education technology conference associated with A.T.S Chicago in August this year. I will be at DevLearn later this year in October. And I'm really excited about being at Learning 2023, the Learning Leaders Conference in Orlando in December. Typically, I'll speak at events where learning technologies and learning and development are a core part of the audience that's participating, primarily because of the network that I've got and some of the experience I've had in this space. So as far as the NSA Influence Conference, it's an annual event that the National Speakers Association puts on. This year it was in Orlando. Next year it will be in Denver. And they'll bring together professional speakers that are part of the National Association or part of individual chapters. And there are many people who are part of both part of the National Association and the individual chapters. I met a number of folks from the Phoenix chapter while I was in Orlando, and I'm excited to join up with that group. So why did I attend? Well, the reason I attend is because it's time to level up. And when you're around a group of professionals who take their craft seriously, you can see the detailed nuance, the preparation that goes into delivering and designing for an amazing experience. And I think that is something that I gained a greater appreciation for while I was at the event. So leveraging the game plan, because we build this out for 2024 and really ramp things up as we go through the end of this year, I've got 3 areas of focus. Number 1, level up in capability. How do I build my own personal capability and get better at this craft, hone my skills relative to this craft? The second one is niching down, being really, really clear about who are we here for, what do I want to be known for, what am I currently known for, and how do I make that transition? And the third piece is begin outreach. So level up, niche down, begin outreach. So some of my key takeaways from this conference, again, which is an amazing conference. And if you're interested in speaking, becoming a professional speaker, I would look at NSA. I think they've got some amazing content out there, amazing resources. There are local chapters. A couple of key takeaways. Number 1, we all have our own unique voice. There were people up there who were, who had shared, Dr. Del Toro, as an example, shared a story about how he had been using quotes from others in his presentations and in his keynotes and his speeches. And someone pulled him aside and said, "We don't want to hear their stuff. If you want to repeat their stuff, if we wanted to hear that, we could go out and get it." What they wanted to hear was his perspective, his voice, his thoughts, his view, his vision on the topics or the things that are near and dear to his heart, his perspective. And each of us have our own unique perspective driven by the experiences that we've all had. Each of you has worked inside different organizations. You were born in different parts of the country or different parts of the globe. You've had an opportunity to live in different spaces. You may have been an only child. You may have been oldest of 7 like me. We all have these different experiences, and we can bring those together to share information, leveraging our own unique voice. And that unique voice can be received by folks differently. The second one that I took away is each person has their own unique style. I mentioned Dr. Del Toro. His style significantly different than my style. For those of you who know Larry Long Jr., you know that he's got energy that just goes and goes. He's larger than life. He and Dr. Del Toro are going to be a bit closer to each other relative to the energy and the style that they're going to deliver information in. For me, it's going to be a bit more subdued. It's going to be a bit more focused. It's going to be a bit more direct. So figuring out a way to identify the style that works for you. So unique voice, unique style, that this is actually a craft. It is a skill. It's a craft that allows you to embrace creativity, creates an opportunity for you to innovate, creates ways for you to continue to get better and better each time you go out there and do the reps. And you've got to go out there and do the reps in order to be able to hone that craft, hone that skill, and deliver on a daily basis, deliver each time that you go out there in a way that makes sense for the audience that you're serving and that you're supporting. So unique voice, unique style. This is a craft. The fourth one is experience is something that you can design for. You can design for this experience, and you have to be intentional about the way that you design for the experience that you want to create for those who are allocating their time, energy, resources to be in a room where you're speaking, or be in a room where you're facilitating a workshop, or be in a room where you're delivering some training, or be in a room where you're engaging with others. You can design for that experience. One of the things that I thought was really cool was there was an example, and I shared this on one of the day 2 takeaways, is the different types of speakers and how they think and deliver openings to their keynotes and the closing to their keynotes. We're all unique. We all have different ways, different perspectives. And if I try to be like a Larry Long Jr. or try to be like a Susan Cain, who I saw speak at a conference a number of years ago, I'm going to be setting myself up for failure. So I've got to embrace my own capability. And you can design with a level of intention when you put together the beats that you're going to go through when delivering things from a speaking perspective. So unique voice, unique style. This is a craft. Experience is what you design for. And when you pull all of these things together, you can demonstrate that level of professionalism. It's not just about understanding the fundamentals. It's about embracing the fundamentals at a deep level, being deeply committed to honing that craft and delivering on a consistent basis. Because the people who are out there spending their money, who are taking the time, going away from families to sit there in a room, they're out there looking to learn something. They're out there looking to change the way they think about something. They're out there looking to do something different. So knowledge, thinking, behavior, action, these are all things that people are looking for when you have the honor of sitting in front of the room. It's kind of like, and the honor of putting together a podcast like this where folks are listening and hearing about the experience that I had over at NSA Influence. So the event was awesome. It was well worth the investment of both time and money. I learned a lot. I got to meet a number of amazing people. I got to see how many people are driven by this need and this desire and this want to share information with others for the purpose of making impact and building something that goes far beyond themselves. So here's some of the work that I'm planning on doing as a result, or here's what I started working on as a result of participating in the conference. And I've got a couple of questions that I'm working through right now. One of those questions is, what am I known for? What am I known for? And this is a current state question. So if you feel comfortable doing this, I would love to hear from you. And you can send an email directly at podcast@catalystsale.com. That's still the email address for the podcast. If you send an email to podcast@catalystsale.com and just share a couple of words that come to mind immediately when you think of me or when you recommend me to people that are inside your network. Why would you recommend me? What are some of those words? So first piece is trying to figure out and work through the community to understand, what am I currently known for? I've heard things like ability to simplify things, ability to help create clarity, ability to ask questions that get to the root of the thing that we're working on. So I'd love to hear from you, those who commit your time and commit your ears to listening to the podcast. I'd love to hear from you on what you think about when thinking about me or investing time in the podcast or recommending it to other people. What am I known for? The next question that I'm working through is, what do I want to be known for? As if I understand current state, what I'm currently known for, and I've got clarity around desired state, then I can start building a plan to accelerate speed to impact and bridge that gap between current state and desired state. So what am I currently known for? What do I want to be known for? And the third question that I'm reflecting on right now is, who do I want to know me? Who are the people I'm trying to draw together who will lean in to conversations like these, lean into getting better at goal setting and execution through clarity and focus, getting better at simplifying execution, getting better at problem solving, decision making, effective meetings inside their organization. Who are those people that worry about these things, that are concerned about these things, and ultimately want to get better at those things? So those three questions: what am I known for currently? What do I want to be known for in the future? And who do I want to know me? And if you've already gone through that exercise for yourself, let me know that too when you share your notes or share your comments with me. And again, share those at podcast@catalystsale.com. I'd love to hear that information, and it will really help me as I go through this journey. What am I known for? What do I want to be known for? And who do I want to know me? Those are a couple of the reflections from the event. It was awesome to get together with a group of people who are committed to helping others. It was super interesting to see some similar patterns. People who are in these speaking roles or want to be in these speaking roles do so from a foundation of service, want to and desire to serve. And when you're around people who have a want to and a desire to serve, you can feel it in the energy that they give off in the conversations that you have with them. If you're going to be at any of the events that I'll be at over the course of the next couple of months, please let me know. I'd love to say hello to you directly. If you know somebody who would enjoy this episode of the podcast, please share it with them. If you have any comments that you'd like to share with me, include those in that email. Again, podcast@catalystsale.com. Sales is a thinking process. Business is a thinking process. Life is a thinking process. How are you thinking differently about your process?